Hello there, and welcome to the CP7 podcast. My name's Parm.
And I'm Andy.
And together, we are Chrono Passion 7. Hello, and welcome back to your favourite free and independent watch-related podcast. It's 2026, and we are back bigger and better. As it's a new year, there's going to be lots of new watches. So we thought we'd take a look at what we can expect from the big brands this year. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick wristwatch check. Andy, what have you got on your wrist?
I'm a bit boring lately, and it will link to yourself in a moment, but I'm not trying to do the same thing. But I'm just wearing the chop-out all the time, just by default. Maybe because it's quartz, it's just the go-to, the St. Moritz, and yeah, like, I've talked about this so many times on the show. I don't think anybody's probably that bothered about it at this stage, but that's what's on my wrist. It's a cool watch. If it's your first time tuning in, check out the Chopard St. Moritz on the website over on the show notes. So you can find us over at www.chronopassion7, as in the number 7.com. So Pam, what do you have on the wrist today?
I'm wearing the same watch all month, but I'm not being boring. So every January for the last 2 years, now this is the third year in a row, I've been wearing one watch for the whole month. Last year, I raised some money for Alzheimer's, and it was quite a success, so I thought I'd do it again. So I am wearing my Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meters diver with the polar white dial and black ceramic bezel, also known as the Great White. I'm telling you what, it's not easy wearing one watch all month, but I am really getting used to this one, and that could be the end of the Explorer 2.
Oof.
Watch this space.
Bold words right there. It's quite funny to see the shoe on the other foot. Normally it's me throwing out watches or changing things, so what's going on this year? A big shake-up.
A big cull. I was talking about the Batman, that's still in the balance, the Explorer 2. The thing is, it was snowing here in London the other day. What I do is I post a story every day as well on Instagram, for each day. And it was snowing here one day, so I took a picture of it on the street for my Instagram story. And I saw the picture and I thought, the polar dial, the whole thing is just the snow, it's just got that snowy effect. And I thought, this has got the exact same thing. Do I really need two watches that are quite similar? Different with the GMT function and the orange hand and all that. But the black and white contrast and a stainless steel sports was just a bit too similar for me. So I think the Explorer 2 is gone and there may be another incoming. But I can't wear it this month. So
yeah, painful.
There you go.
But not long to wait. You're doing great as well with the fundraiser. So we'll put that in the show notes as well. So for those who want to donate, there'll be a direct link, right, in the show notes.
Yeah, for the Alzheimer Society. Right, so that's what I've got on my wrist. So, Andy, what are we talking about today then?
I think first, to try and predict what's going to happen in the future, maybe first we need to look at what's happened in the past. So, first of all, we'll just do a brief overview of some of the trends over the last few years. Get a sense of where we feel the market's going or has gone in general, and then we'll get to the most fun part where we're going to come up with some of our wild and maybe not so wild predictions from some of the major maisons. And yeah, let's see, it should be fun. But first, Pam, do you want to do the classic? Shall we get into a bit of a timeline and see what were some of the biggest trends over the last 3 years or so?
Yeah, I've actually done 4 years. So what I did was a bit of trend tracking on the last 4 years. So we started 2022, which was a year of anniversaries and iconic releases. Audemars Piguet released their 50th anniversary jumbo extra thin Royal Oak with an in-house movement for that milestone year. It was the 70th anniversary of the Breitling Navitimer, and Rolex decided to release the Deep Sea Challenge, the insane, huge 50mm titanium case, waterproof to 11,000 meters Deep Sea Challenge. Going to 2023, that was more a year of playful dials and reissues, where brands experimented with colour, cool, playful designs, and some reissued classics with their modern updates, such as the Rolex Day-Date 36 puzzle dial. Tag Heuer released their 60th anniversary Carrera Glassbox chronograph to celebrate that model. And quite importantly, IWC released the Ingenieur in a 40mm incarnation to pay homage to Gerald Genter's design of that watch. Moving on to 2024, which was about materials and refinement. That was a shift to gold and alloys, technical complications, and just redefining popular lines that had been produced by the brands, such as the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT, Piaget Polo 79, which is an awesome release in yellow gold, the 79 and 1970s classic. And now going to last year. Last year was a year of, let's say, innovation and heritage, where the releases emphasized technical excellence and an elegant design, such as, talking of elegance, the Cartier Tanker Guichet came back with that beautiful jumping hour function in yellow gold, rose gold, and platinum. Talking of technical innovation, Grand Seiko released their Spring Drive ultra-fine accuracy, also known as a UFA, which promised at plus or minus 20 seconds per year accuracy. And then finally, Zenith released their GFJ Caliber 135, paying homage to the famous movement marking Zenith's 160th anniversary, and that was actually a GPHG winner. Those are the common trends over the last few years. Andy, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yes, a lot's happened since we got into the industry. When you first get into it, you're learning about everything, and it doesn't feel, for me, so long ago since I was such a newbie to the hobby. But reflecting back now, so many years have gone by, and so many already from being in the industry, I'm starting to I remember that. I remember when there was this particular trend, which is kind of crazy, which reminds me of two particular trends, which I'll touch on. And I think you touched on one of them already.
Yeah.
One of which was going back to the Omega Ultra Deep. They actually, just going a little past 2021, so going back to 2019, the prototype beat the original 60s Rolex Deep Sea Special by a mere, or you could say mere, or by a lot, 19 meters. So not a huge difference, but enough to set the new record, right? So the Omega reached 10,935 meters. Of course, Rolex, that's not cool, right? We've got to come back in 2022, which they did with the new Deep Sea Challenge, the huge, everybody remembers this, right? The Goliath 50mm titanium beast, right? That then reached 11,000 meters. So they raised the bar once again. So my feeling just on the monsters of potentially 2026, and I want to know what you feel about this, Pam, but I kind of feel it's time for Omega to respond maybe. It's been a bit quiet, this whole deep sea challenges and just this...
Over to Omega.
Yeah, Rolex have the crown right now, no pun intended. So do Omega. They always have the crown. But yeah, can they take it back? Can they steal the sea, the deepest watch challenge?
That could be like the 100 meters, shaving a hundredth of a second off the record or something. I think, this will probably carry on until the capsule explodes or whatever. Whatever
we can't go deeper.
Whatever vehicle they're in to take them down that far. Yeah. But I think they'll keep going. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? I don't know, how long have they been doing this?
Well, Rolex set the record 1960, the original, the bubble, the Rolex bubble. Not a bubble back, not to be mistaken for a bubble back, the bubble glass. If you haven't seen it before, it's a crazy looking watch, right? But it's well documented.
You can't forget that one.
Really, it came into fruition when Omega beat that in 2021, and then Rolex no, you're not taking our crown, and then now Rolex hold it again. Do Omega respond? And could it be this year? I just feel it's gone a bit quiet around the crazy depth masters, if you like. Could another brand, could JLC suddenly come out of nowhere and
Tudor.
Go crazy? Or Tudor, yeah.
Yeah, they did the Ultra model, didn't they? Ultra 1,000 meter Pelagos Ultra 43 mil.
Yeah.
Could that be the one, not that watch, but could that be the shape of things to come for them?
Who knows, right? So again, that's not really my main predictions from the brands for 2026, but maybe we could see something around that again. Then the only other comment I'd make before we really get into it would be around the thinnest watches. Also, that's been a little bit quiet. Just a bit of a timeline between 2022 and 2025. Back in March 2022, Bulgari released the Finissimo Ultra. which was at 1.8 millimeter. So they had the world record. Then Richard Mille came back with quite a... I remember this was just all over the socials at the time, but the RM UP01 Ferrari, that reached 1.75 millimeter. Then in April 2024, Bulgari reclaimed the title once again with the Otto Finissimo Ultra Kosk at 1.70. You see how they're kind of playing with each other. It's dropping by 0.5 each time.
Yeah.
Then...
the 100 meters.
Yeah, exactly. Then Chaikin, Konstantin Chaikin comes in. And what does Konstantin Chaikin do? He plays the same game, comes in at 1.65 millimeter with the Finn King. So what's next? That was 2024. We skipped 2025. Could we see something from Bulgari, for example, at Watches and Wonders 2026, reclaiming 1.6 millimeters? So I think both of those kind of, were they trends? It weren't trends as in the general buying public, but were trends in the industry of a bit of fun competition. It's been a bit quiet on both sides, on the ultra monsters and the ultra slims. I think something might, at least from one of them, we may see something this year. I hope, because it's quite fun, right?
Yeah, Bulgari, we claim a response.
Yeah, so to be continued on that one, I guess. We'll have to see.
There's a few anniversaries in 2026, so let's start with that, which could be an indicator of what's coming. Tudor are celebrating 100 years, so I think something special could be coming from them. The Rolex Oyster is 100 years old this year in 2026. The Rolex Day Date is 70 years old, so that could be interesting. And then the Milgauss, which was discontinued a couple of years ago, would be 70 years old in name, so could something be happening there? But those are the big anniversaries for this year.
Yeah, I think definitely we're going to see something with Tudor. I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit later. I believe Rolex have to do something with the oysters as well. 70 of a Milgauss, I'm not sure. Is that a significant... Of course, it's a significant year, but is it like normally it would be like the 75th or the 80th, right? You'd imagine.
The return, because it's discontinued. Could they bring it back? Because there's been a lot of talk about it coming back to its original design. Very iconic look.
I feel the Milgauss was always a little misunderstood, and it was one of those watches which people really rather loved or just didn't like at all, right? And now it's gone, I think more people kind of want it. So yeah, maybe it will make a comeback. I don't know if it'd be this year though. I wish it, I'd love to see it. It'd be exciting to see it, but I'm not sure if it's the time. But what do I know? But let's see, I guess.
Let's see. I mean, to bring something back is very rare. Let's see.
All to be found out, I guess. Yeah, at this stage we can get into maybe some of our predictions, right? And look, some of these are going to be way off, and some maybe we get it, or we get none, right? We could be horribly wrong or horribly right.
Yeah, time will tell.
There's not much time. It's creeping up. Watches and Wonders is upon us. It comes sooner than you think. There's already things happening in the background, already working out our schedule, right? So it's coming. So I think now we can actually get into some of our predictions. Maybe they be spot on, maybe for the wrong reasons, the right reasons. Yeah, let's hope we at least get one kind of close out of all of the predictions across quite a few brands which we have selected. To kick things off, of course, it has to be Rolex. And we both have some strong opinions around Rolex. We're both quite big fans of the brand, of course. Parm, I know you're a huge Rolex fan, so you kick off the first point. What's one of your first predictions for 2026?
Well, the big reveal for 2025 was the Land Dweller with that very original name. The reception of the dials wasn't the best. So with that honeycomb dial, the Explorer Type 6 and 9, if there was something that people could criticize about it, it was that. And I think maybe they'll play around with the dials a bit and they'll probably improve them. So I think they'll play around with the dials a bit, maybe colors, maybe textures, maybe detailing on that dial. They could make it a smooth dial, because I think that was the one big criticism. They did it in two sizes as well, which is really good. With that new Dynapulse escapement, that's innovative technology. So they won't obviously play around with that technology, but I do think they'll play around with that aesthetic. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think new dial variants are a guarantee. Will they be what we all want them to be? Maybe, maybe not. Rolex don't normally listen. They just tell you what this is what it is. And you learn to like it. But yeah, the obvious would be like smooth or the classic kind of Rolex sunburst styles and some nice variations. But yeah, we shall see. One thing I'll say on the new caliber, the 7135, the Dyno Pulse, I could be off with this, but and maybe it's too soon for it to be brought into another line. So to be honest with you, I think I'm way off. I think I'm missing the mark with this one. But I'll say it anyway. Could we see it enter the Yachtmaster? Potentially, but most likely they'll keep it exclusive, at least for now, within the Land Dweller, with it only being a year old, right? Not even a year old, but a year old of Time of Watches and Wonders, of course. Would it be too quick to move that movement into another line? Do they want to keep it exclusive? Or is it we start innovation in this and then it trickles down? I don't know. So that's one additional kind of point there. To touch on a new prediction, just for one of mine, and I know, Parm, you'd love this as well. Titanium Air King.
Yeah,
I'd love to
cool.
see that. Yeah. I think it'd look awesome.
Yeah, titanium. You think there'll be more titanium watches? That's an interesting one. I just want to go back to the caliber 7135.
Yeah, go for it.
It's the 70th anniversary of the day date. The day date is available in 36mm and in 40mm, very much like the Land Dweller. Of course, it's got a day and a date complication on it, so it wouldn't be exactly the same 7135 movement. But they may, to celebrate 70 years of the day date, put a Dynapulse movement into it with a day date complication. I think that's possibly with an open case back, possibly as well. Like the Land Dweller was the only steel Rolex with an open case back. This is gold, so it follows with that Daytona trend of open case back for the gold Daytonas. So that's a possibility. It won't be the 7135, maybe it's the 7136 or 7 or whatever they want to call it. Chrono Passion 7. Yeah, that could be a one. And going on to your titanium, I think the Air King thing is awesome because it's Air King, obviously aviation, but this is more land speed record. Yeah, so this is land and air. Yeah. So to move fast, you need to be light.
Dynamics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To move fast, you got to be light. You got to be nimble. So agile. So I think that would be something very interesting and very cool, actually, and that would make so much sense. So they did the Titanium Yachtmaster. I don't think they'll go full gung-ho and turn everything into titanium, but because they made that deep sea challenge in titanium, and they made a giant gold deep sea with the blue dial and bezel, I reckon they could make either the Sea Dweller or the deep sea in titanium, just to give them a new look and feel.
I think this is where it gets tricky because when it comes to predictions, I'll be honest, my Yachtmaster movement call, I think that's a rubbish in reflection. I'm critiquing my own call. I think what you just said, the 7136 in our new made-up caliber, I think you could see that evolution more likely in a day date. I 100% agree, especially with the anniversary. That's a far better call than me saying entering the Yachtmaster.
They did the Titanium Yachtmaster, didn't they? So they seem to experiment with it.
Yeah, it doesn't always follow. Yeah, it doesn't always follow logic. You're right, but my feeling after hearing your prediction there, I think that feels more probable than the Yachtmaster. But who knows? Just quickly on the theme of titanium, I'd love to see the Air King in titanium. I think it makes sense. But one other one which could be interesting would maybe be the Explorer 2 in titanium. It's a tool watch, utility, you're traveling a lot.
Cave diving.
It's it's in the name, Explorer, you need something lightweight on your wrist.
If you want to spelunk, you got to be light.
Could that be a thing? I think we're expecting titanium introduced somewhere, at least within Rolex line.
There'll be one. I think there'll be one of those. Don't think that we're saying the entire Rolex catalogue will now be available in titanium. We're just guessing. We're guessing which model we think they might move into titanium with.
Then any more, Parm? Go on. I've said a few now. I've got a few more up my sleeve, but you got any more?
There's the obvious one, right? This is the one every year this comes up, and it never happens. And I think you know which one I'm talking about. It's the Explorer Polar Dial. not the black dial. And the reason why I say it's probably 5% more possible this year is because Tudor released their Dune Dial Ranger, which is almost like a Pana Dial Explorer 2. So I think possibly...
Yeah, it's plausible. So one thing I will say as a disclaimer, other than our wristwatch checks, we wanted to mix up the show notes. So rather than showing you pictures of watches you've already seen because were announced last year, for a bit of fun, with the power of AI generation, we're actually making some of our favourite renders of our predictions. So make sure to visit the website, as we have already done the Polar with the white dial for the Explorer. And it's funny because everyone else, every other kind of render I've seen online has a black seconds hand. And when we did it, we decided to put an orange seconds hand. And it just kind of ties together with the Explorer 2, the theme.
It does.
So, we called that. I haven't seen anybody else call it yet. Maybe, probably more people have called it. But if nobody has, we called it. But yeah, make sure to go to the website, www.chronopassion7.com, where you will see a rather unique take on the show notes, as all of the watches you will see, theoretically, don't even exist yet or never.
Yet. Yet. Yeah, cool. I think that's a brilliant call. And I think that was Andy who actually came up with the orange second hand, not myself. But I think that would work. Maybe the writing could be in orange as well. The Explorer could be in orange too. There you go. That could be a 36 or 40, would you reckon?
Not both.
Tudor did both for the Ranger with the Dune
No,
dial.
that's one thing we didn't talk about, and we'll brush it very quickly. We were talking about trends, and obviously one thing is everybody's saying, the smaller size has come back and more vintage aesthetic. And, me being into vintage, yeah, that's cool. But both myself and Parm, prior to just hitting record now, we were like, that's not really the case. It's just there's more range. I wouldn't say the big sizes have been axed, right, for smaller. It's just now there's a broader range.
No.
So I say that because it touches to the Explorer. Like, I don't see why just do one, like offer both, right? I think 36 and 40 makes good sense.
Yeah, but like even the Ranger that we're talking about, that was in 36 and 39 millimeters. So something for everyone rather than
one way or the other way.
Something for just some people. Yeah.
Totally agree on that. One final prediction from my side then. Actually, is two more.
There's two.
I'll be quick, right? One, which is unrealistic, the 1908, I feel it deserves to evolve. I'd love to see a perpetual calendar. More likely it could be a moon phase, realistically speaking, but I think a perpetual calendar would be cool. We already made, again, the AI render of this, so go check it out. And then the last one, just, look, 100 years of Oyster, we've got to do some kind of, not celebration dial, as in the one which we've already seen before, but some kind of celebratory or anniversary kind of dial, right? What do you think?
Oyster Perpetual, that's an interesting one, because again, it's 100 years celebrating the Oyster case. What could they do beyond different colours? I mean, they've already done the green, and possibly update the movement, because the last movement was updated in 2020. Okay. And it could be 6 years. That could be one thing.
I think that would be in conjunction with something else, though. I don't think to celebrate, because I definitely feel in an OP, you're not going to see that movement. So you might feel or see the benefit in timekeeping, but you're not, you don't physically see it as such. So I feel they have to do something with the dial or case material again. I don't want to keep shouting titanium everything, but could you see funky titanium limited runs of OPs, or like short run?
It's the case, isn't it, as well?
Like not,
I mean, it's the case, isn't it? It's not the Oyster
Perpetual.
Perpetual.
Not the Oyster Perpetual.
The case.
Yeah, you're right. Like maybe they do a unique model just for a limited time only. I really don't know. I don't think they would.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll move on. I'm not sure, but maybe they do something to celebrate it.
There's nothing to see here. Yeah.
They would be way off.
So
so swiftly doing a Homer Simpson into a bush to get away from that one. Moving over to Tudor then. What do I think could happen in 2026 with Tudor?
Submariner.
I think the Submariner fans have to let this go. I'm really sorry. It's hard love. I'm a fan of the Tudor Submariner myself. I've owned two, and I've had the Snowflake, I've had the Lollipop, and the great watches. They're cool, and I know they're extremely collectible, but I just don't see it. The Black Bay is the new Submariner. Could they do a subtle nod to it somehow? Personally, and Pam, you maybe have a different feeling, but personally, I don't think you will ever see Submariner written on a Tudor dial ever again, unless it's vintage, personally.
Yeah, I don't think Rolex would want to transfer that over. They seem to be keeping quite a unique catalogue naming convention. I mean, I think one thing you could say, Submariner, the Black Bay 54 is supposed to represent the first ever Tudor Submariner, the reference 7922, which was in 1954, funnily enough. The Black Bay 58 was to replicate the Tudor Submariner reference 7924. So these are all versions of the Submariner called a Tudor Black Bay 54, 58. So the Black Bay is, unfortunately, new Tudor Submariner fans. That is what you're going to get. And even the FXD, the way they market the FXD now is like your mill sub. It's not going to happen.
I think it's tough love. And I think it's the same for... this is one point I was going to raise. I do believe there's a chronograph refresh. It has to happen. The B01 has to leave. And I think the caliber, which they made in the only watch in 2023, the MT59, which was XX named as prototype, I believe we should see that caliber. I don't believe they'd just make it for one watch and not introduce it in the future. It doesn't make sense to put that work into a new caliber and not develop it further into your core lines. So I think we could see a brand new, sleeker, slimmer Tudor chronograph, Black Bay chronograph. I think that would be great. I don't think it's going to be any link to the old, the Oyster Princes and the big blocks and small blocks or any of this where... again, it's leveraging the old Daytona cases, and it's the same as a Submariner. It's just, again, the tough love. It ain't going to happen, I don't think. But personally, that's one watch I would like to see, the chronograph refined. Yeah,
I think the chronograph could be... I mean, they did it for the only watch in 2023, didn't they? It's possible. But the thing is that they're so popular. I think I had a theory they were just trying to
clear out the movement stock.
Churn them out, clear it out. Yeah, just clear the movements out. So they put different dials on. They did a watches Switzerland dial. Then they did a nice blue dial as well. And then these Miami dials, the Messi dials, the Miami dials, they took them to a whole different level. Maybe they hang on, let's give it some more time. I don't know, because they're not in massive production, those Miami colours. Flamingo blue and the pink. I think everyone is waiting for that to happen because it makes sense, because Tudor is grown up enough now to make its own in-house movements rather than rely on Breitling. And it's a beautiful chronograph, a bit chunky, but a beautiful chronograph. Shout out to Mark Bowman, who has one. But it's possible. I think they might want to slim it down a bit. Would it have the 6-9-12 layout though for the sub dials? I don't know, like the MT59XX only watch version.
I don't know, because maybe it does the caliber force that to be the case or not. That's something to think about. But
and just another thing, going back to they even released a Black Bay 68 last year, and that was based on the 1968 Submariner. So, again, it's just to underline, it's not going to happen.
I can see how, again, a little nod to Mark again, because his blood's like, no, I at least want one of them. But I think it's to a tough love. It's not happening. But we can hope, right? And every Tudor fan dreams of this. But maybe, the past belong, the vintage treasures, and maybe that's how, that's where they belong.
Yeah,
but
it is the centenary year, so something has to come.
Big has to come. Yeah, and
maybe because the Submariner ran the Tudor Submariner ran from 1954 to 1978. They did the 68. Maybe the Tudor Black Bay 78 will come out, tipping its cap to the final release.
Shout. Yeah.
But I don't know if it's true. I just guessed, but
I really don't know. 100 years is significant. They have to do something. Will there be limited edition dials? Will there be, anniversary editions of particular lines? Or will the new chronograph be the celebration launch? There's going to be something, or which we were discussing towards the start, and Parm, you touched on this earlier off air. Could Tudor join the deep sea challenge? As in, we're going to try take the crown. That'd be quite ironic, especially for the 100 years. Take another 100 meters away from Rolex.
Yeah, well, yeah. Gosh, that's
it'd be silly. There's no need for it, but
could be because it's a centenary. It's like a trophy, isn't it? It'll be like a trophy watch.
Trophy watch. This is a one. Tudor, the smaller underdog, if you like, beat both Omega and Rolex at the getting to the deepest depth. I don't know. Bit of a silly one, but who knows, right? Sometimes the most crazy predictions are the ones which are the closest. And the most logical are the furthest away.
Gold.
A solid gold.
Make it in gold. Yeah.
That's how it got to the depth.
Tudor Ultra, Black Bay 68.
Yeah, 60 millimeter solid gold. Yeah, that's our shout.
That's it, Black Bay 78. Yes, that's it. Black Bay 78 in solid rose gold. Yeah. Why not go rose gold? Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, I think the chrono could be a good way to do it. Yeah. It could be a good way. A blue Black Bay for sure should be. The thing is, you normally do like Rolex go green on their centenaries. Tudor did the burgundy last year with the 58, didn't they? Which could have been a centenary model. But do you think they'll try that with something else? Or maybe a chrono in the burgundy?
You could see a chrono in the burgundy. I think that'd be a cool launch. Maybe the launch, again, the brand new chrono range of Black Bays, and there might be 3 different dials on the anniversary dial. Who knows? Or Rolex, a Tudor, are known to bring out gold watches sometimes as well, as we know. So, I mean, could have a solid gold chrono.
My devil horns are coming out because I'm thinking Andy's going to do these renders for the show notes. So let's just throw in as much outlandish crap as is possible.
Disclaimer, the renders may not look so great. It takes ages to get them to look good. So, we're going to narrow it down to our favourites. But, hey, I'm up for a challenge. It's fun. So, we can do some outlandish, silly ones.
But in all seriousness, it's possible. I think that's a possibility.
Solid gold chrono?
One, definitely. No, the
burgundy chrono.
The burgundy If they do
it.
If they do the new movement, or even they don't do the movement, there could be a burgundy chrono to say 100 years of Tudor.
I think that's
boom, red or burgundy.
That's a good shout versus the super deep sea ultra challenge FXD in solid rose gold.
In rose gold.
Well, it's a solid watch. We know we know somebody who'd love that solid gold. Solid rose gold at FXD. Now that is a door kicker's watch, right?
Yeah, that is definitely kicking those doors in. Right.
Yeah.
Not the back door. Anyway, no, let's just get away from this. Right. Let's move on from that and let's go to one of our favourite Trinity brands from our Trinity show, Vacheron Constantin, elegance and class. What do you think they're going to do, Andy?
I think they keep continuing bringing out elegant and class watches. But jokes aside, I think there's a lot what could happen. I've got some wild cards, which I don't think will happen, but I'll save them for a little bit later. I'm going to start with the obvious. I think there could be continuation with the Historiques 222, and with the steel, I think we could see some new dial colours coming into play. Maybe a play with silver or grey, some blue tones. This kind of thing. I think that'd be kind of a, not the most exciting, well, super exciting because people love the 222, but I think that could be quite an obvious evolution. So I'll start a little basic, but yeah, what do you think?
222, I mean, it's quite obvious that they probably will do that, I think, because they won't just stop at the blue. That's a good shout, a very good shout. Well, just sticking on the 222, I mean, it's a small watch, oh, if they could put some complications on it, that would be pretty mind-blowing, wouldn't it?
What, breaking the historic
annual calendar
kind of trend?
Yeah, just because the thing is, when brands release an integrated bracelet watch, usually they normally want to, like IWC have done with the Ingenieur, they want to start throwing some complications on it, following suit from what Audemars Piguet did with the Royal Oak. It's the perfect canvas for a sports watch to put in complications, which you wouldn't normally do on a usual sports watch.
I throw one at you then on that, because, you know, I was saying, you could see some silver grey dials or some kind of different approaches to the blue dials. I don't think so. I think we just have that blue and that's it. So maybe that part of my prediction's a bit off, but sometimes you can play with different, like a deeper, richer hue, you know, for example, more of a sunburst. That aside, what about, you know, Vacheron like to play with green dials occasionally, especially for GMTs. Like, that'd be pretty cool, right? A 222 with the green dial and GMT function. But could it accommodate it? Would it have the space for that kind of...
It's an extra hand, isn't it? A dual time or a GMT?
No, GMT.
Which one do you mean, sorry? Okay. Yeah, it's an extra hand, I think. Would it look good? Not sure. Well, why not? Yeah, because they could do it. I mean, this is Vacheron. They are
the masters,
They do métier d'art, right? They're masters of creativity.
I'm reflecting on the overseas from 2024 in rose gold, the GMT with the green dial, and it just felt everything quite large on the dial. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it had a power reserve on there, but you don't necessarily need that on the
222. We put it on the back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the most obvious.
You know me, moon phase, chuck a moon phase on it. That's what we want.
There's one key thing. So, of course, last year when we're talking Vacheron, right, one big thing was the 270th anniversary, right? It was the year of anniversaries, like we've already, you know, established. But it is the 30th anniversary of the overseas. What you reckon? You think we could see some kind of...
Is it?
Some special overseas?
What can they do with it? They've done all the materials. They've done all the complications. No, they've done all the colours. This is Vacheron, so it could be an enamel tile. You don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Well, I'm just trying to think of what they do. Gem setting, enameling. You know, métier d'art. That's in-house as well.
So I don't want to be boring.
What could they do?
but let me do my wild card. I'd love to see it in carbon. I made a render in AI of it in carbon with a tourbillon. Ooh. It looks sick. But realistically...
That would look awesome.
Yeah, but what about titanium? Would that be more a realistic material?
They've done titanium before, haven't they? They did the tourbillon in titanium a couple of years ago. Was it last year?
Last year?
2 years
definitely
ago.
Not last year. Fair point. So yeah, maybe not then. I don't know. I'd love to see the carbon, but I don't know if it's a material Vacheron would really entertain so much. But
I think that would... What about Damascus steel or something? I don't know. Or three golds. Try, mix three golds together. Audemars Piguet did that a couple of years ago with the Royal Oak. Mix rose, white, and yellow gold in let's see, a Tridor type.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, like 30 years. I think we've got to do something. Did they do something super unique with the model, or did they just do a limited, like gem set limited run? I'd love to see something more playful, as I mentioned, with carbon. Already the titanium's been done, so I kind of forgot that reference.
What about it's the Year of the Horse, and Oris have just put out this amazing Year of the Horse chronograph. What if they did something like that?
I think for, the Matrice d'Art, we'll definitely do something, but I don't know if we'll see it on the overseas, or maybe they do a special edition of it, but I don't really see a horse suit in an overseas. I see it more in a classic dress watch kind of concept.
Hermes, tongue
poking
out.
That was great. That was great fun.
But in all seriousness, I'm not sure how. I don't really think they'll do that. But one okay, so the overseas, I've been done with this overseas 30, you think? No, actually, no. So, okay, I don't see that happening, really, I suppose. It's more of a, it's not
look,
universal year of the horse. Yeah.
So, as you said, with titanium, they did do it on a tourbillon, but why not on a GMT or something? Could it evolve further? But I'd like to see them do something more fun with materials. But like you said, like tri gold, right? Would that be the right term? And or different.
Or Tridor. That's what Rolex call it, Tridor. They did the day date in Tridor with all 3 gold.
I think that'd be cool. Just to be playful, do something. 30 years, it's something to celebrate, right? It's starting to get some, some heritage, let's say, at this stage. It's starting to be age a little bit. So it does need to be celebrated.
No, it's good. It's a cool watch. It's coming into its own. Not that it wasn't interesting, but it's really...
The 3rd gen is...
It's no longer Vacheron's version of the Royal Oak. It is actually a watch with its own personality and prestige. Yeah. Okay, but sticking on Vacheron, I think there is a range that seems to be kind of forgotten. And that's the 56, which is their newest range. Remember, they did that all-steel blue dial with the steel bracelet sports watch, and then they did a whole range of complications on it. And it just seems to... I think they did... I mean, they've made the odd new version, but I think they really need to focus more on that. I mean, the greater the range of your watches, the better. I mean, they're not... The good thing with Vacheron is they don't, like Omega, just flood the market with ridiculous numbers on their catalogue. That they do stick to their core range and they expand on those within and to different sectors and to different collector groups and what have you. So the 56 could be something they could really need to focus on in 2026.
Yes, the time and date, the 300 with date blue dial on the steel bracelet, like that's quite a sporty piece, right? And they did a day date or variation, right? But I think that's in precious metal, not on the bracelet. So it does need to evolve. I'd say the core model on the bracelet. I think that's a really good shout. Cause I haven't really seen it.
They could do different colors. I mean, I know we're going basic, but I mean, vary it. Even that was a really popular watch because it was an entry level Vacheron. That was the and then it was a way for people to get a taste of and experience Vacheron without breaking the bank. Okay, they're not cheap, and it was very wearable as well. It wasn't that you can only go to a black tie event or on the red carpet. It was the Golden Globes last night, and we're being absolutely inundated with who wore what, and which is quite, oh God, it's killing me. But so it's one of those watches that it's a very versatile watch. The 56 all steel 3-hander. So I think they could do something with that as well. They could even just bring out a different range of those.
I agree. I'll be honest, we've seen Vacheron Watches and Wonders twice now, and they didn't present that model, not once, like as one to see.
Yeah.
So, obviously because they want to show you the new novelties, but it's not just that. Sometimes I have some of the previous novelties there as well. But no, it's kind of, you're right, it's in the shadow, kind of forgotten about. I think that's it does deserve more spotlight. Yeah,
reset
something needs to happen there. Yeah, that's a really good shot. So we can move on to another serious brand which needs zero introduction, just Patek Philippe, right?
Yeah, the king.
Pure class and elegance and prestige once again. And the main thing, and we can debate around this a little bit, but one of the biggest deals really is that it's the 50th anniversary of the Nautilus. So, jokingly, could there be some... We were talking about this off air again. Could there be some kind of weird marriage of the Nautilus and the Cubitus coming together, NautiCube.
The NautiCube, yeah.
We came up with, right?
I actually spelled it NautiCube, and Andy made it a bit more N-A-U-T-I cube, which made it a bit more of a realistic name, if that is actually a realistic watch. But the NautiCube.
Well, if they did They did the naughty lips. It has been done in the past, the marriage of two models.
There you go.
But really, that's not celebrating the Nautilus, is it? Blending it into the replacement.
But what about the cubitus and the ellipse? No, that wouldn't celebrate the Nautilus much, would it? But it could.
I don't know what I'd think to that. I'm not going to render that one, just to be clear. I can't do it. I did do a crazy render of Nautilus and cubitus, and for shock value.
It's pretty cool, happened, actually.
But it's grown on me a little bit.
It's got those TV case, right?
Yeah, like rectangular. I stuck a Tiffany dial on it for the 50 years just to hype, let's go back to the hype again.
Hype it up.
Thing. But yeah, so check out the show notes to see what we're talking about once again. But I'll be honest, I feel it'd be 50 pieces of some different kind of, rose gold gem set, platinum gem set, yellow gold gem set kind of thing. I don't think we're going to see a steel Nautilus come back for 50 years as much as I'm sure many people would appreciate it. I think we'll probably just see, or maybe they bring out a crazy complication Nautilus, what's just, in precious metal and limited to 50.
Diamonds.
I think that's probably, yeah. Would you say that's a more realistic shout?
I think.
How do you feel?
I think there's me just trying to just be a bit, okay, what would be fun? What would be cool is if they did a reissue of the 3700 Jumbo, which was the first one, the original Genta design, and they did that in precious metal or platinum or whatever. The platinum 3700 reissue just for this year or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Limited to...
That'd be cool.
3,700 pieces, which is quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But, well, there you go.
Salmon dial. Oh, salmon dial Nautilus. That'd be...
Salmon dial Nautilus. There you go. What was the original?
I have to make that one.
What was it?
It was blue, right?
I think it was blue.
Like a blue dial.
Yeah.
It was the trend back then. Like, all kind of that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Well, the trend, they set the trend back then.
They're the creators,
the
They created the trend,
blue,
instigated.
Blue on steel, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think possibly that in that kind of layout.
Yeah, some more fun, some more exciting.
Whether they do or not, I don't know. But then I hope they don't do what they did with the 40th anniversary. I do know someone who owns this watch, and it's a Nautilus, but they did a 5711 in platinum, 5711P001, but it actually had on the dial, etched into the dial, or stamped, I don't know what it was, it had 40 in the dial to celebrate, and then it actually had the years 1976 to 2016 also etched or stamped into the dial, and it just looked. It kind of I would love to own that watch, but it did kind of cheapen the aesthetic.
I remember
it cheapened the aesthetic. If some people were up in arms about it, the person I know who owns it says, "I don't care. Who cares? It's mine." So that's the best attitude to have. But I'm just thinking, don't do that again.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah, I'd rather them just do some iced out thing. They do iced out Nautiluses though all the time.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything special. We go to
it's nothing new anymore.
When you go to Watches of Wonders, if you ever get to go there, check out the Patek booth. Just the windows will blow your mind with the number of jewels, the precious stones that are used in the different colours, the transitioning of colours, and it's something else. I remember sending a picture on a family group, and my sister-in-law said, "Who wears this?" I just said, "People with a lot of money," basically.
People with obscene wealth.
Yeah, because I think
it's amazing.
Yeah,
to
if
see.
you're just used to just regular watches, and you would think, "Oh my God, that is disgustingly vulgar." But if you, I think. Yeah. And to be honest with you, that's not me, and I don't think it's Andy to wear something that garish. But
not that level.
Yeah, but it is art. If you appreciate what has been done to source those stones and the gem setting, the workmanship that's gone into it, you have to kind of take your hat off. But yes, I can see why people would not like that.
No, I think that's a fair observation.
What about the Aquanaut? Do you think they're going to do anything with that? World Times, anything?
That'd be cool. That would be cool. I kind of feel that Aquanaut's just there and doing great.
Just as it is, yeah. It's just an everyday
it.
sports watch. That's what it was supposed to be anyway, wasn't it?
It's a quality, yeah. Like it's, gosh, you know, if you can buy that thing at retail, it's something. Great value.
Yeah. I remember John Reardon got his, didn't he? Like, when they first came out, and he said he had to save up to get it, and he got it, and it was the watch that brought Patek to the everyday man, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special watch, is the Aquanaut, but I don't think we need to do anything with it. Yeah, and like the only other things which probably won't get many people excited was that the Calatrava 8-day was introduced last year, the 5328G. So could there be more innovation with that caliber across? When I say innovation, I just mean, well, more continuation of that throughout other various Calatravas. I think so. Like you'd progress that further, I believe. An 8-day caliber is something quite impressive. Why not spread it across to some other references? But I don't think it's going to get people up in arms or celebrating anything like that. I think the most exciting really is what will come of the 50th of the Nautilus. I think that's where the eyes will be on. And will they do anything more with the Cubitus? You know, what's next? Could they drop it down further?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Cubitus.
Yeah.
They made it smaller, didn't they? And then maybe they could complicate it further than it already has been.
Yeah, I think it's got, well, at 44 millimeter, you know, on the larger size, it's got a very big canvas to play with. I think we could see some new iterations, maybe some new dial colours. I don't think we'll see new sizes. I think the sizes are set now.
I just think, though, with the Calatrava, when they put out the 6196, I think that was such a silent, hard-hitting watch. It was just, this is the 96 in a salmon dial, but, you know, it was...
you know, I can't say anything. Like today, today, the day of recording, we're having a bit of fun now. What would we wear to like a red carpet event? And we're talking about what tux we'd wear and all this lot on which watch. And that was, you know, the 6196 is the one I chose to go with, like a blue suede tux. So, I mean...
Oh, yes, it was.
And you also went Patek, which, yeah, there we go. So we're a bit, you know, Patek fans.
So, yeah, I went 5296 with the sector dial, which is, I do like that. I like that watch because it's a Calatrava. If you see the plain one with the date, I'm not a big fan. But when you see the sector dial, it almost looks complicated without having to pay for the money for a complication on a Patek Philippe Calatrava. It kind of gives you that interesting look.
Yeah. Add some depth to the dial.
It's called the Scientist, I think it's called. Yeah, very cool watch. But anyway, they're not, maybe, no, they're not going to do anything with that. But yeah, that's Patek Philippe.
Yeah, I think we're falling in love with a brand all over again. So I think we swiftly need to move on away from the Trinities.
Pull ourselves out of these expensive, very expensive watches.
Look, you've got to kick off Amiga, Parm. One watch challenge. All roads are leading to Amiga this month, at least. So where do we start with Amiga?
The only road I'm on, the only road I'm on is Omega. So wearing the Seamaster Diver, 300 meters. Will they do anything with that? I don't know, because they released a couple of versions last year with the mesh bracelet and the orange accents, and they kept the helium escape valve. Now that's a bone of contention with a lot of people. The helium escape valve. They released the newest version of the Planet Ocean, which is supposed to be based on the baby Ploprof, which is a watch that used to be in the catalogue. And that didn't have the helium escape valve. So I'm wondering, will they try and move away from that and the bracelet? One thing I have to say about the Seamaster, the diver, 300 meter diver, is the bracelet. It doesn't taper. It's kind of very 90s looking. It's not a very good looking thing. It does complete the look though. Don't get me wrong. It does, to me, this Seamaster would not be what it is without that chunky, very what's the word? It's not pretty. Yeah. It's not ugly, but it's not pretty at all. It's quite...
It looks a bit 90s.
In your face.
I'd say.
Yeah, it's very 90s, very dated. That's the word I'd say, yeah. That dated look of the bracelet. It's solid. It's so well made. Everything about it, apart from the aesthetic, is good.
Yeah.
Even the clasp is a bit too big, possibly. Maybe they could make that smaller. But the diver extension is amazing, as good as the Rolex's Submariner. It was interesting, actually. I was in a chat group and there was a big debate sparked off about the Seamaster and the Submariner. And everyone was talking about, no, you wouldn't get someone who has the Submariner but owning a Seamaster. There's too much rivalry. I mean, I'm not sure what that means. But and to the point where the conversation was going to, people were saying, I've never known someone who's owned both. I thought, well, I own both.
Yeah.
And it was just silence. The conversation just died. No one acknowledged it, nothing, but they changed the topic.
We're like, ooh.
But yeah. Anyway, but what will they get rid of the helium escape valve? That's my point, and that's the point I'm trying to make.
I feel it's an integral part of the identity, and I know there's people who are like, I'd buy one if it didn't have it, but I kind of feel it's like, I don't know, taking the Cyclops off, off the Submariner date. It's just part of it.
Yeah, well, they got the no date, but
I know, but I mean, if you want the Submariner with date,
the actual the Cyclops off, If you take the just like the Sea Dweller, the old Sea Dwellers,
of course. But I mean, if we're talking just like Submariners for comparison with date, then you're stuck with the Cyclops, right? And there's people who don't like Cyclops, the look. So it's the same thing, but it's just an integral part of the heritage of the design, and
it's the look.
Hard love once again, I'm afraid. I think, but look, they could, if I think there's a market for it. Maybe they could do a whole new thing about a new innovation of where they've replaced it, but where they've actually relocated it on the watch. Maybe they make a deal about that. I don't know. Just while we're on the topic of the Seamaster, before we move to a different range, a noteworthy point is it's the 20th anniversary of Casino Royale, and I'd say that's arguably our joint favourite, at least modern Bond.
Yeah,
Craig,
definitely. Yeah.
So, could we see something there? Could we see a special edition Bond watch again with Daniel Craig?
Because what watch did he have in that? GoldenEye is where the Seamaster was introduced.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything for that.
Okay.
So I don't know, because they did a 60th Bond watch.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
Celebrate the franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. 60th but there was no, because GoldenEye and Casino, I think are two iconic movies for Omega. James Bond, the first Craig movie, and GoldenEye was the first Pierce Brosnan movie. But the thing that says possibly no to me is the fact that they didn't do anything for GoldenEye.
So why would they do it? Yeah.
For Casino Royale.
Yeah, fair point. It was just...
But then again, nothing stops them releasing it.
Doing something, right? Yeah. And he's still the ambassador, right? He's still with Amiga.
Yeah, he's still Amiga.
Pierce Brosnan, he's not, right? I don't think he's with Amiga anymore or anything.
No, he's not an ambassador. No, I don't think so.
But maybe that links to it, so they didn't do anything for GoldenEye because he's no longer linked to it. But Daniel Craig is, so maybe
could
something
be.
in that.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, it could be. Look for the Daniel Craig Bond.
Yeah, I don't know. The Casino Royale edition.
Celebrating Casino,
Maybe.
Great film, though. I've got to say, I love that film. That has got probably the best opening scene.
Yeah, the fight in the opening fight scene.
And then he shoots the guy under the table. They say the second kill's easier, considerably.
It's just rough and ready, isn't it? It went from a kind of tongue-in-cheek franchise to, like, serious kind of Still a little tongue-in-cheek, but more brutal, kind of believable.
Yeah, more real,
Raw,
earthy, gritty, more gritty. That's what,
gritty,
raw, gritty, raw, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah, what a great, Not
great
all
movie.
the films were great, but there was a couple like that, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're going into a James Bond conversation.
Yeah,
Let's,
it's a whole new show.
Let's do a James Bond show. Yeah, let's do a James Bond show in the future, and we'll talk all about our favorite Daniel Craig movies. But yeah, that's possible. But one thing though, with Omega, and I'm saying with the helium escape valve, they do things big bang. So I was at a British watchmakers weekender at the Time and Tide store in London a few weeks back, and I was talking to, luckily, Roger Smith was there, so I had the opportunity to have a nice conversation with him. And what he said to me, he said he's a big admirer of Rolex, and he said because they change things incrementally, he said it feels quite inspired by the way they do that. But for them to inspire Roger Smith is is a massive deal. And he says that, and the point I'm making with that is Omega are the complete opposite. They just, boom, change everything. There you go.
Yeah.
So they might get rid of it. You don't know.
Yeah, you really don't know.
You really don't know with Amiga. They are a bit of a, not loose cannon, but they're a law unto themselves.
A little bit at times.
Yeah.
I've got one last wish. This is a wish rather than a prediction. I would love to see an ultra slim constellation. I'd love that. Because I found they've got a little too thick and they've stepped away from the sleek 80s aesthetic of the past. They've improved the bracelet quality, like the bracelet's a quality from the past as well, but it's just kind of got thicker. It doesn't taper as much. It's more chunky. I'd love to see it just have a weight reduction and become really sleek and elegant. But it probably won't happen. It's just a wish rather than a prediction.
I think that's a huge shame as well, because the Constellation is such an amazing range of models, and it just looks lost. It's just almost like, who buys a Constellation? What does a Constellation buyer look like? It's I mean, I own a 1998 Constellation, and it's nice, like you say, nice. It's quartz, so it's going to be thin, but sleek, slick, very representative of the time. Yeah. It's almost like the Constellation doesn't look like a watch from 2026 or 2025 or when the last model was made, but it doesn't actually look like a watch from any particular time.
Yeah, it's a little lost. I think it deserves more love. And they even did do quartz for a while in more modern iterations as well, and they were still thicker. I just think if they came out with just shake it up, make it super flat, sleek, like a super slim Constellation, perpetual calendar or annual calendar, just boom, out of nowhere, and suddenly it's back on the map again. That's like, people will pay attention, reinvent the bracelet in the sense of just taper it more aggressively, make it sleek and flat. People will be like, whoa, what's this? Where did this come from? Like, I think they're missing a trick by kind of not doing that, to
not investing in it.
Yeah, it's a legend.
Investing time and yeah.
So that's one point, but it's more of a wish, a wish than we're not going to do it unless they've somehow picked up on it. So the show is already turning into a bit of a marathon, mainly because we just go off topic talking about James Bond. However, let's get back on track, and just so we keep you guys and girls engaged with the podcast, we're going to speed things up a little bit. But one brand we just want to touch on very quickly is Breguet. Towards the end of the year, they introduced the Experimental #1. And really, personally, I feel that's the biggest talking point. The clearest evolution is we will start to see that new form factor entering the Marine collection and more usage of the 10 Hz magnetic escapement throughout the range of, let's say, more sporty, maybe even the Type 20 ranges from Breguet. But I think that's about it for Breguet predictions, just to keep it short and sweet. I just see that movement being pushed through certain ranges. I believe more of the sporty ranges. and like the pilots, and then within the marine. And that's about it. Other than that, Breguet will just keep being Breguet, you know.
Doing the same old thing. But I do wish they'd do something more with the Type 20, Type 21.
Maybe this is it. You know, they get the movement upgrade. To do that, it needs to be a new design. Maybe they shake it up a little bit.
It's already quite cool with the flyback chronograph. But yeah, I mean, you know, it just still looks the same. But anyway, Breguet, they've had their 250th anniversary last year. I'm not expecting
any major things,
big changes from
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is
to pull up trees.
To accommodate a new movement, sometimes you've got to make a new house for it, right? So that's the only thing we could say there. But yeah, the most obvious, I think, would be more focus on the marine. Personally, that's my putting a quick bow in Breguet. But lots of respect to the brand. But just for time, let's move on. What's next?
So next is our final Trinity brand, Audemars Piguet. This is their first time at Watches and Wonders in 2026, and I think we are all expecting something quite special. What do you think that could be?
I don't know if I want to say it because there's a certain AP. There's a certain AP I'm after, and I don't want it to get popular. And I think something could happen around that. Especially linking back to Breguet, because they did something with the same design and inspiration. So I'm already giving a clue away there, if you like. But I want to keep it vague, so I'm going to keep that one to myself. Or does it really matter?
I'm going to say, if you're not going to say yours, I'm going to say mine. I think they should re-release the John Schaefer. It will be a massive hit. Yeah. Listen to our show on the Law of Watchmaking's Holy Trinity, episode 66, where I wax lyrical about a model that I think they should re-release, which is the John Schaefer model. Check out the show. Check out the show notes. That's what they should do. Whether they do it or not, I don't know.
I think it would break the internet. I will say the one, because I did say it in the show anyway. So I feel that the philosophique, the single hand, our hand philosophique, we could see something with that, but in the Code 11. So I could see some innovation with that, especially if they're wanting to make a bit of a shock value. That kind of approach will bring that. But equally, I think great shout on your side as well.
I have one more, which may not be the greatest of shouts, but they could finally rekindle that Marvel partnership and have the Audemars Piguet offshore Incredible Hulk. So they can finally take that name away from Rolex.
Yeah, that's a great shout. Yeah, it's due. When was Spider-Man? Was that 2023, I think? No, it was older. Yeah. It was 2022, maybe.
Yeah, 22, I think.
Yeah, 2022.
Black Panther was 21, I think.
It's gone quite, but they still they still have the license, so it is credible. Yeah, I had that as as a point to raise. So yeah, we're both thinking the same on that one then.
Yeah, there you go. But they need to have the hands bigger to suit the Hulk. You know it when at past.
Is Wolverine Marvel? I can't remember. I'm rubbish with all this. Wolverine's
he's X-Men.
Marvel?
Yeah.
I'd love that. That's the one I would.
That'd be your watch. If you ever checked out Andy's Instagram batch watches, you'll see his best impersonation of Wolverine.
Occasionally, yeah.
Right.
I've toned it down a little bit. So, getting back into AP just quickly, one notable thing, which probably won't get many people excited, but noteworthy, 50th anniversary of the ladies' Royal Oak. So probably with some new 34, 37 editions, for the female audience and even the male audience who want maybe a 37 Royal Oak. They don't care if it's classed as ladies or not. And yeah, beyond that, I see more expansion with the Code 1159. I think there needs to be a bit more, because they did a bit of a refresh last year with the Code 1159. They introduced those new textured dials, which are really nice, actually. So I'm kind of going back on on our Grail, not our Grail show. I'm going back on our Trinity show a little bit there. The more I've got wrapped up in AP lately, the more I'm like, you know what, Code 1159 is pretty nice.
I think Andy's got hooked on AP. I've got hooked on Patek. So it wasn't a good show to do, really.
No.
It wasn't a cheap show to do.
Yeah. Watch his space.
Yeah. Yeah, watch this space. Right. Okay, so we'll move on from Audemars Piguet, who will debut at Watches and Wonders this
Yeah, I'm
April.
excited.
We'll move, and we will move to Zenith.
So I believe we're going to see more with the caliber 135. Like last year for the anniversary, we saw it being reintroduced, right, in the GFJ. I believe we could maybe see a new dress watch lineup housing that caliber, and I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe vintage inspired somewhat, but with obviously modern aesthetic as well. I did kind of speak with some of the guys at Zenith, and they did hint towards that a little bit. So maybe it's not a leak because they didn't say. They're just like, maybe you're right. So I think we're probably going to see more of the 135. Another point for me personally, I really liked the DeFi X USM launch. That was mentioned in our previous show, episode 67, right? The Christmas show. And with that, I just think that the obvious evolution would be to see those DeFis with the El Primero movement just to start to develop with the classic like silver panda dial and shadow grey, the classic Zenith colours. Other than that, maybe ceramic in the DeFi Extreme Diver, to make it a bit fun and aggressive. But that's my kind of take on Zenith. Again, a lot of these brands have had such big years last year. I think it's just going to be more like putting the evolutions and the collaborations into a more, what came from them into a more standard line for this year. But yeah, that's my take on Zenith. But how you feel, Pam?
Yeah, I think as it was the 160th last year, they won't go all out this year. They did those 3 ceramic watches and they did the GFJ, as you said, 135 caliber. I do think the USM releases they made, the El Primero, where they used an El Primero movement, was the first chronograph they've used in a DeFi. So maybe they could expand on that possibly, because that's it's surprising,
No, I think that
marriage hadn't happened before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I think. I think Zenith will keep doing more of the same what they would do on a traditional non-anniversary year.
I'd like to see a new dress watch range, maybe with a caliber 135. I'd love to see those DeFis, as you mentioned.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. But yeah, I think the DeFi evolution with El Primero chronographs, I think it's logical. I think they're missing something if they don't. And beyond that, when you talk about if we go to the skyline, right, you're just going to see more innovation, more ceramics, maybe different color ceramics after the anniversary. Maybe a new GMT line. Maybe they bring integrated bracelet. Who knows? But yeah, other than this, I think that's
they kind of have the DeFi is the integrated bracelet, isn't it?
DeFi, yeah, I guess that kind of like with the gay phrase, but it's not integrated, is it?
It has that look, I guess.
Yeah, it has that aesthetic. Yeah. It certainly has that. Yeah, but the Skyline's like their sport, like proper sports range, right? Yeah. So yeah, maybe they do more of a full-on integrated bracelet, but maybe not. Maybe Zenith likes the ability to change, to different bracelet straps, etc. Not everything has to be that, right?
Yeah,
I think that's Zenith in a nutshell. And then a brand we both equally enjoy, Piaget. What could we see from Piaget this year? So go on, Pam, you kick off Piaget.
Ooh, Piaget, I love Piaget. Ever since I went to that event, there was a Time and Tide event in London with Piaget there, and honestly, I fell in love with the brand. I haven't got any of the watches, but just one day I will have one. I think they've taken a lot of focus away from their modern polo range, because that used to be the one thing they would really focus on every year. And a couple of years ago, they brought back the old version of the polo, the one that Sylvester Stallone brought in season 1 of the Tulsa King, which they've now rebranded as the Piaget 79 in yellow gold. And last year, they re-released it in white gold, which caused more of a stir than the other Piaget polo modern releases had. So I'm thinking there's not that much that will happen in that space, but the Andy Warhol has really taken off. I remember looking at those. Remember, I remember seeing a malachite dial.
Yeah.
And with the white gold step case. I remember saying to Andy, messaging him, God, these Piaget is amazing. I know the size wasn't, your thing, but it just looks really cool. And this used to be called the Black Tie Collection. And ever since obviously the marketing machine at Piaget have got hold of the Andy Warhol connection, they've reinvented it as the Piaget Andy Warhol. Amazing watches, but I think they'll drop more new releases in that range. Again, the older version, the vintage version, was known as the 60, I believe, which had stone dials and that very 1960s image and aesthetic. So, yeah, I think there'll be less modern polo and more Andy Warhol. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Like, I remember when we were at the booth last year at Watches and Wonders, there was a shift back to the jewelry-inspired designs, jewelry-integrated bracelets, and just it will more focus on the ladies' collection, but also where you're at the point of men would wear these again these days. These are unisex, yeah. So I think there's going to be more leverage from past catalogue, which people have been, I know fans of Piaget have been screaming for. I would love personally to see a return of a protocol. I think that would be epic. Yes. It makes sense.
That would be a no-brainer, yeah.
It just makes sense to do it. Could there be a Polo 79 in steel? It's a logical step at some point. But
I hope not. I really hope not.
I know, but it's a cash grab, isn't it? I think it's not traditional.
I suppose it's an entry into it. Yeah.
The Polo was always about showing wealth in precious metal. So it steps away from what the Polo represents, but it doesn't mean it won't happen. Or we could see a two-tone, and that could be two-tone gold, white and yellow gold.
Ooh, white and yellow.
Yeah, or onyx even. They used
white
onyx on the older ones, on the originals.
Platinum.
Yeah.
It'd be a platinum 79.
Something, yeah. To be honest, I'd rather see
becoming
the
quite
protocol.
predictable, aren't they? We say yellow and rose, and I throw in platinum, then we throw in titanium.
Yeah.
Gosh, the watch world really does.
It's but you do see patterns, and you kind of know. There's just obvious steps, even if it's steps as fans we don't want to see at certain points. You're just like, yeah, they probably do that.
Cartier made us titanium Santos. Do you think Piaget would do a titanium 79?
It goes against everything the Polo represents.
Yeah.
Because it was all about
opulence.
Especially the brand opulent. It was to represent pure wealth. And that's why it was made out of solid gold. That's why it was such a precious watch and such a statement. It was for that higher class of clientele. And if you suddenly stick steel into it or titanium, it completely dilutes the heritage. But it doesn't mean it wouldn't happen. But I'd like to think it would. Thinking about it, I hope it doesn't happen. But would people go crazy for a steel Polo 79? Yes, they probably would. So that's the thing. Really, I'd love to see the return of a protocol. That's my favourite shout. I'd love to see that. I think it's time.
Yeah, the 222 moved from gold to steel. Has Piaget got the same cachet as Vacheron?
I think on the Polos, yeah, I think they're pretty hot. The overall brand maybe isn't quite as hot as Vacheron, of course. But I think on select lines, they have a similar kind of pull. Especially on these integrated, sports pieces. Even though it wasn't sports as such back then. It wasn't a sports watch. It was a pure luxury flex with integrated bracelet. But suddenly it becomes sports if you turn it into steel. I'd see it more as it's a cash kind of grab thing, but I don't know. You don't know what brands are thinking sometimes. Not necessarily brands, but directors of brands. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know on that one.
I think that is all we have time for. We ended on Piaget. We covered a nice spectrum of brands. I think we've made loads of nice predictions. Some of them completely outrageous. Some might be on the money. You never know.
Plausible. Yeah. We better wrap things up. Check out the website at www www.chronopassion7.com, where we will pick some of our most favorite predictions, and with the power of next-gen AI technology, we will try to bring our visions to life for a little bit of fun. So get involved, have a bit of fun around those. Let us know what you think to them, and if you think it's plausible. But as always, thank you for listening to our mad ramblings, and I will sign off. That is hasta luego and adios from Barcelona. You'll hear me on the next one.
And I do implore you to check out the show notes. Andy puts in hours, days and hours into getting those done. So do him a solid and check them out. And also, my Just Giving link for Alzheimer's will be in the show notes too. So please do check that out.
Certainly will.
So as Andy says farewell from Barcelona in Spain, you have been listening to Chrono Passion 7 on the CP7 podcast. And from London, it's Toodle Pip and laters. And we'll see you, and you'll hear us in the next one.